Alright, I know it's been a while since I've made a new video, so I decided to give you another installment of Justin's fun word facts. Yay. But now because I'm a for real teacher, I'm going to change it to Mr. Franco's fun word facts. Yay. Because that seems more appropriate now. Are there any objections? No? Alright, good. So today's video is about a sentence that demonstrates lexical ambiguity, which means confusing wordy things. The sentence also shows the importance of punctuation in conferring meaning in a written sentence, and we all know how important punctuation is. So let's look at the sentence without explanation or punctuation. Here it is. James, while John had a better effect on the teacher. Yeah, in its current form it doesn't make much sense, so let's put it into a scenario. Let's say we have two students in a classroom, James and John. They've got an assignment in which they have to write a sentence to describe a man who previously suffered from a cold. So John writes, the man had a cold. That makes sense. But James instead writes, the man had a cold. You see, the extra had in bold that James added signals the past perfect tense. It's an action that took place at some unspecified time in the past, but before another action in the past. Go look it up if you're not sure. John's sentence is simply in the past tense because it doesn't have that second had. Well, anyway, the teacher looks over the sentences and decides that James is correct and that John is wrong. So James's sentence clearly had a better effect on the teacher. So to recap, in his sentence, John had, and James had. And James's choice of had a better effect on the teacher. You see where this is going? So we can combine all three observations into one sentence like this. While John had, James had, and had a better effect on the teacher. But that's not the final form we started with, so to get that, we've got to make some changes in syntax, or the sentence structure. So we take the subordinate clause, while John had, and insert it after the word James, offsetting it with commas. Then we take out the coordinating conjunction and replace it with a semicolon. So our final form, with punctuation and proper inflection, is James, while John had a better effect on the teacher. So there you go. Lexical ambiguity and an example of the importance of punctuation in helping us understand a really twisted sentence. Anyway, thanks for watching this installment of Mr. Franco's Fun Word Facts. Yay. Now, go learn more things.